stabilizer motion.
The pilots of Alaska Airlines Flight 261 wrestle with an MD-83 nosediving towards the Pacific Ocean.
The airplane pitched down and rolled. It actually gets inverted upside down.
Amazingly, the pilots managed to keep the aircraft flying.
Speed brakes.
Just seconds from impact, the pilots right their aircraft.
The devastating failure that would bring catastrophe to Flight 261 did not come out of the blue. Culmination of a chain of mistakes that began years earlier.
13 minutes after takeoff from Puerto Vallarta, the worn threads in the Acme nut caused the jack screw to jam, preventing movement of the horizontal stabilizer.
Captain Thompson and First Officer Tansky get the first sign of trouble. The horizontal stabilizer on the tailplane won't move. The pilots repeatedly try the two switches that operate the stabilizer. The primary motor activated by the switch on the control stick known as the pickle switch, and the sliding suitcase handles on the central console.
Controls in the cockpit activate a 2-foot jack screw in the tail. As the jack screw turns, it moves the stabilizer up or down.
At 28,500 feet, the pilots switch off the autopilot and fly the plane manually. They have to pull back hard on the control column to lift the nose of the plane up. This requires considerable effort. The plane climbs for the next 7 minutes to its cruising altitude of 32,000 feet. But several minutes after requesting help from the ground, they're getting no advice.
Let's try the pickle switches again. You got it?
The captain is warning the first officer as a reminder, when we click the autopilot off, be ready, because it's going to require a lot of effort from you right then.
The threads finally give way, and the jammed jack screw pulls up through the nut, causing the stabilizer to move upwards.
Stabilizer motion.
The nose of the plane drops, far more than the pilots anticipated.
The airplane is pitched down significantly, and the airframe is shaking violently. They know something is very desperately wrong with the airplane.
The problem is suddenly much worse. Through sheer brute force, the pilots hold the jack screw in place and recover the plane.
To counteract the downward force of the stabilizer, the pilots use the elevators, movable panels at the back of the tail, linked by cable to the control column.
And they're now in a situation where they make the decision properly to go in on an emergency landing to Los Angeles International. And they have to be able to slow the airplane up, so you've got to experiment a little bit.
The pilots request to be routed out over the Pacific Ocean. If the worst happens, they don't want to kill people on the ground as well as in the plane.
There are a lot of lives saved that people maybe don't realize by the fact that this aircrew said, let's stay out over the water until we've got this thing completely under control.
The thing in the tail suddenly breaks.
The stopper holding the jack screw in place finally gives out.
Definitely in a nose down position, descending quite rapidly. Definitely out of control.
Push and roll!
The damage to the stabilizer makes Flight 261 uncontrollable. The plane rolls over and dives towards the
The
ocean.
plane is now upside down, but they believe they might be able to roll it out of the dive.
Mayday! Push and roll! Push and roll!
They tried to fly the airplane even upside down. They never for a moment believed that they could not find a way to control this airplane.
13,000 feet over the ocean, the pilot's efforts seem to pay off. The plane's nose starts to rise, but it's still inverted. As the pilots fight to get the plane the right way up, the engines on Flight 261 fail.
There was a disruption in the airflow into the engines, and it caused a loss of thrust.
Here we go.